Okay, we are going to discuss how to identify a badass in this video, because several people have said that moms demand action are real badasses because they've taken on the NRA, man. They're badasses. Okay, and a lot of people don't know what a badass is. So in this instructional video, I, your humble correspondent, will show you what a badass is and what a badass is not. We're gonna properly identify them. Okay. First slide. This is John Basilone. Okay, and as you can see, he is a badass. Now, John Basilone was at Guadalcanal, and on October 25th to October 26th, he fought the Battle of Henderson Field. One of many, many people. He was not alone. He commanded a machine gun crew made up of model 1917 water-cooled 30 caliber Brownings. He killed countless Japanese. Then he ran back behind friendly lines and retrieved God knows how many rounds of ammunition and ran several hundred yards back to his position to replenish a supply of ammunition. When the enemy came too close, he drew 1911 and a machete and began shooting and hacking the Japanese at point-blank range. The next day, several men had some raisins for breakfast, and he had blood in his hands from the men he had killed, and he ate the raisins with the blood of his enemies still in his hand. Sculpted them down. After some time of selling war bonds and sleeping with every woman in Hollywood, he requested the general, who was also a brother Medal of Honor recipient of his, who was presented the Medal of Honor, his brother Medal of Honor recipient, who presented him with his own medal. He requested that he be transferred back to combat. He was transferred from the 1st Marines to the 5th Marines and sent to Iwo Jima. He spearheaded the beach at Iwo Jima under a constant volume of fire, led a crew of men against an enemy machine gun nest, went back to the beach to retrieve more Marines. Later in the day, an army tank could not get through a minefield, so he ran through the minefield and the tank followed him for cover. Later in the day, he was hit by a mortar shell and killed. Next slide. This is Audie Murphy. As you can see, he is also a badass. Now, Audie Murphy was about 5'5", 125 pounds. He has over 250 confirmed enemy kills, many more wounded, many more captured. He earned at least 3 Purple Hearts, 2 Silver Stars in 3 days, the Distinguished Service Cross, the Medal of Honor, and the U.S. Army publicly said there will never be another. He died in a plane crash many years later, unfortunately. This is Kerry Hollandsworth. As you can see, he is also a badass. At age 17, he asked his mother to sign his enlistment for the U.S. Army. In 2002, he went to Afghanistan to fight the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. In March of 2003, he invaded Baghdad when Saddam Hussein was overthrown. In late 2006, he married a former soldier who herself had a child from a previous relationship. And when his unit was reactivated to be deployed again, he was granted a waiver from deployment, and he refused all special treatment and deployed back with his men in February of 2007. In September of 2007, on September 9th, his Humvee was ambushed and he was killed by enemy. This is Carpenter. He is also a badass. Now, he enlisted in the Marine Corps at the age of 18, I believe. And a lot of people thought he was too skinny, too scrawny, he would never make it, etc., etc. And 3 years later, in Afghanistan, when he was 21 years old, a terrorist threw a hand grenade at his friend. He laid on top of the hand grenade, and when the hand grenade exploded, it broke damn near every bone in his body. It ripped his face open, and mud became embedded in his face. And the mud, his skin healed over the mud, and you could actually see brownish, greenish lines on his face for several years until the mud and the skin worked, until the mud worked its way out of the skin. He lost an eye, he broke his jaw, he lost all of his teeth, horribly disfigured, and as you can see, he is also a badass. This is Shannon Watts. She says that no one should be allowed to, she's not a badass. See right there, not. Okay. She said that no American should be able to own firearms that can fire 10 rounds a minute. And when I explained to her that she didn't know what she was talking about, that she should understand what she was talking about because she was going to use her rights to take away my rights, and I explained that a gun firing 10 shots a minute would give you 6 seconds between shots. You could just duck under it. She blocked me on Twitter. Also, she showed up at a gun control rally with a detachment of armed guards, and one of the armed guards assaulted female reporter Dana Lash. Okay. This is Super Cunt. And she is also not a badass. Do you know those people that ride to school in the little yellow bus? Okay? Yeah. After school, this is who they beat up. Okay? And there you have it. My lesson on how to tell who is and who is not a badass. Thank you for your time.